Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, James. Welcome to the set of the show, Word on the Street, where our mission is to educate and inspire our viewers to live with passion and to work at their full potential. Now, today is a really great day. We have a few special guests. I want to get into it. For the self-development segment of the episode, I have community activist Miss Giselle Jacobs. She's going to be here talking about how we can help out our community, a lot of the great things that we can do to create a positive impact. As you already know, we start with the word of the week. And the word for this week is fortuitous. Fortuitous means happening or produced by chance. It's like lucky or a lucky accident. So an example I put, it's an adjective by the way, an example I put is, it is fortuitous that I've been blessed with a TV show and I do not take this responsibility lightly. So, the purpose of the word of the week is to use words that aren't commonly used in conversations, but you can begin to incorporate them, and it's used to expand your thoughts, to expand your vocabulary. Because when you expand your vocabulary, you expand your thoughts, you expand your thoughts, you expand your world. And what we're trying to do is build up our world in our control the way that we would like to have it. So, one of my first guests, as I had mentioned, is Miss Giselle Jacobs. I see she's in the back. If we would be able to let her in, that would be great. We also have a great entertainment segment for you today. We're going to let you guys know about what we're doing, a lot of the big moves. On November 21st, we're going to have the Raw Fest 3, which is going to be in Hartford on Vine Street. And that is going to be dancers anywhere from Connecticut. So if you're a dancer and you live in Connecticut or the nearby surrounding areas, go to therawfest.com, www.therawfest.com, and you can register on there. It costs $10 to enter, and you have to bring 2 non-perishable foods. That also goes for spectators as well. Anyone who wants to just come and watch, you just bring $10 and 2 non-perishable foods as long as you register online. If you do not register online, it will be $20 at the door. All right, so without further ado, I would like to call up my first guest, Miss Giselle Jacobs. I would say she's intimately involved in our community. She has a lot of great ideas. She's from Hartford. She's here. She sees what's going on every day. And, without further ado, I would like to bring her up. Hello, how are you doing today? Good. Introduce myself. My name is James. James, welcome to the show, Word on the Street.
Thank you.
I did a lot of homework on you. I mean, your story was really interesting. One thing I noticed that really stuck out to me was I read in the paper, you wrote, this is what you said, I'm going to quote it. "I'm not happy with what I see and what I continue to see in my community. Our children are dying. They're getting killed in the street." I see that as really, that is very true. It's really motivational, inspirational. I would just like for you to just talk about stuff that you do see that's going on in the street, and what from your experiences of living in Hartford, what changes can you say have caused the greatest impact on today's youth? I would say especially compared to the 90s or the 80s when kids were growing up.
I believe one of the greatest changes that have taken place since I was a child growing up, as it relates to the way things are today, is the emphasis on traditional families. Like, even though I grew up in a single parent household, my mom and dad separated when I was a toddler, I still had that family setting, you understand, even though it may have consisted of my mom, my grandmother, aunts and cousins, I still had a sense of family, growing up, not just in my household and within my own, blood family, but I had a sense of family and belonging as it related to the community, that I lived in,
Yeah.
Like my maternal grandmother, for a period of time, she lived in Bellevue Square, as a child. And I was, as a matter of fact, I didn't know you were going to ask me that question, but earlier today I had a conversation with some friends of mine where we were talking about that sense of unity and community and family. Like, even though if we were low on food in our house, it was cool because I knew I could go next door or to the next building to a friend's house and have something to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that no longer exists, because I know for a fact that it does, but not as when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely wholeheartedly agree to that. Nowadays, I mean, people look like, the neighbors, you keep them at a distance now, because people think, you never know, somebody's always trying to, get something from you or trying to get over on you. A lot of that I can sense is going on in our communities now.
And not even know who your neighbors are. There's a lot of transient, a lot of moving around, and one year you may, your next door neighbors may be one set of families, and then within a matter of months, someone else is living there, and even those who may have been there for a long period of time, folks is moving so fast. I'm running and jumping in my car. I'm going to work, 2-3 jobs. I don't have time to get to know who my neighbors are.
So true.
Or who their children are, So I try to make an extra effort at knowing, who my neighbors are.
That's very important. I have another question. When it comes to resolving the issues of the inner cities where poverty and violence are rampant, it seems that they're problems that are being treated but not cured. It's almost as if we have a big wound, right? And instead of, when it needs stitches, we're actually throwing a Band-Aid onto it, and as a way of showing an effort, but it's not really solving the issue. So what do you think should be done to rebuild and restore our communities?
Well, wow.
It's pretty big,
When I think of all the poverty, the poverty, the violence, substance abuse, that's rampant within our community, I don't know.
There's different perspectives on it.
It's so much. It's so much. Yes, we all say, with jobs, that would definitely make a huge difference as it relates to, the poverty, as it relates to the crime, and as it relates to the hopelessness that's, encompassed within our community. Yes, efforts are being made, however, not enough.
Yeah,
not enough effort is being made. Realistically, there's a lot of us in the community, that are doing work within the community on the grassroots, ground level, and, and who may be doing great work, to help others within our community, and seeing the suffering on a daily basis, or some of us who have maybe even been on the other side and know what it's like to suffer, wanting to make a difference. And but oftentimes, the little resources that do come into the community aren't going to those of us who are on the grassroots level. It's, and I don't,
I agree. To put my thoughts onto it, I believe that there's efforts that are being made, but it's also a political game as well. If you ask me, that sometimes it might not fit into the budget, or it might not be it might not make economical sense to support. Like this is what people how I would see it, as people would see, to support certain activities that really could benefit a lot of people in these areas. Because I see it as this, is that when I know that where I grew up, at least, it wasn't anything pretty, it wasn't anything, I could come home and what is there to do? When you go outside, I mean, there's older people that are out there when I was growing up, and there were a lot of kids as well, but there's a lot of things that you can do to get in trouble. And so it's better, for me, I found an outlet in sports. So a lot of the sports programs, those are great, but some of them are getting cut now too. So now, what is there? Kids nowadays, they play video games. They're inside. It's better to get them outside, more community involvement, because when they're inside, they're separated. And so
Absolutely.
I think that, to rebuild our communities, it would really take a real community effort. Having something where people around the area can meet up and, work on, come up with ideas, actually, put the work in that's necessary to build where they live. Who else better to talk about how living conditions are than the people who live there, and how they can help out in the sense of, all right, so if someone lives right there, they could tell you pretty much exactly how the conditions are, what it's like, so they'll know how to improve it. So it's good to have a voice, within those communities. Most people, they want to speak up, but they don't know how to. They don't know where to go.
And even when they do, are their thoughts and views being recognized? Are their thoughts and views and ideas and of what could make things better for their own children, for themselves, for their community? Are they being valued? I've attended many focus groups and sat on several panels, where we were asked the question, but when it really comes down to it, is it valued? Is it, so I don't know. When we talk about solutions and what can be done to make things better, I'm a firm believer that it's not that we don't know what the solution is and what can be done in order to address some of the issues that we face. If you look across the country and other cities and states, Chicago, they have programs for the youth, whereas opposed to their closing and shutting down after school programs, they're actually extending them longer hours. If we can look right next door to New Haven, for instance, where there's a resource center for individuals returning home from incarceration. They want work, they want assistance in getting that work. They're able to go walk right into the mayor's office, town hall. At one point it was right in the mayor's office, now it's in the ground floor as soon as you enter town hall to the right, where I've been able to walk in that front door and actually hire individuals on the spot, being that we do a lot of commercial construction cleaning, train them on the job, where they're able to make a little something is better than nothing, especially when you're just coming home and have so little resources. So I don't believe that folks don't know what the solution is. Oftentimes, do we really want to get to the solution? You understand?
That's the real question. Yeah, like that is real. I know you mentioned your business. We'll definitely talk on that a little bit later. So just as an overview, so our viewers can actually, not only just take in the information, but be able to put it into action. What do you think there are some things that our viewers that are watching can do today, for example, to help improve the communities? That first step, what would somebody that's sitting at home watching this on a computer or TV, what could they do to help better their communities?
Do something. Just don't do nothing. Don't feel as though you have to be someone or at a certain place in life or have a certain status, letters behind your name in order to make a difference in your community. I believe that we all have something of value, that we can offer within our community, and if you want me to be more specific, you can, reach out. I'll let you know, because when I, decided that, I've always been about serving, giving back to the community. I went into the military when I was just out of high school, a couple of years out of high school, because I wanted to, serve my country. I wanted to travel, and so on and so forth. Since coming home, serving others within the community, they say that the greatest aspiration of the human heart is to serve others, is to help someone else. Yes. And it's not, and I agree with you, oftentimes we don't know what to do. Many days I run into individuals who desire to volunteer or give back to make a difference within our community, and often it just takes asking the question, what can I do? And then doing it.
Yes, that's so true. It's in the doing. Most people feel like you definitely hit it right on the head. Most people feel like they need to be at a certain status, like they have to have letters behind their name, they have to have people behind them already for them to even feel like they can make any kind of a change. But what they don't know is that everyone has a voice. If you have a good idea to bring to the table, it's better to just do something, say something, speak up about it. Because if you don't speak up about it, that is an idea that you could have brought up that could have actually made a difference. And you never know if you don't speak up and say something.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree. That is the best for our viewers. So any of you watching out right now, just do something, anything to help improve your communities. Now,
call Giselle Jacobs at Children of Color Organization for children and families impacted by incarceration. When I started out in my living room straight out of the homeless shelter just a few short years ago, I was unemployed, receiving food stamps. I cooked a full soul food dinner. Cornbread, collard greens, jams, mac and cheese, barbecue chicken. Invited the community, invited a director from the university. We all sat down, we broke bread, we talked about, having loved ones incarcerated. A couple of weeks later, they offered me a state job on a contract. So you never know what can happen when you just take a risk, step out, have faith. God gonna use you.
Oh yeah, that's really good. Wow, I didn't even know that. That's really inspiring. And especially, how you just mentioned right now, having like loved ones incarcerated. I mean, being a minority, especially in this area.
In this day and time, we have more Black and Latino men locked up today than we had enslaved in 1853.
Wow.
We came together in the beginning to find out how we ourselves can thus find solutions as it relates to the next generations. You understand? To keep them up out of the penitentiaries. You understand? There's a myth, because it's not fact, that children of incarcerated parents are 6 times more likely to become incarcerated themselves, when there are individuals and professors in Washington who have done the research that says that's not the case. That's not the case. So our children of incarcerated parents are less likely to go to prison themselves. I have a 22-year-old son at home whose dad been locked up most of his life. He just graduated UConn, graduated Weaver 2010, high honors, graduated UConn 2014, and is now teaching at Clark and Wish with the Public Allies and UConn Husky Sport, where his younger brother attends. So there's hope in our community. We just have to share the hope. We don't get to hear as many stories of hope as we do as hopelessness and what's not going right with our young people.
That is very true. It's what you focus on, I believe. That's really cool that your son's same exact age as me, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's really cool.
Isaiah. They call him G baby. He ain't cool but he think he is. He's cool in our hearts. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Isaiah, he's cool.
All right. So, being that this is an entertainment television show, I would like to know, what do you think the role of entertainment has on the youth, or has on, what responsibility should entertainers have in delivering their message?
Well, I believe, I'm not as up on who's seen what and all of that. I do a lot of reading and research as it relates to the issues that I deal with. But when I think about, the entertainers of today, like the, what's that one? I can't even think of his name. But anyways, I feel as though the message should be what it is. Oftentimes, even when they're rapping, they're talking about what they deal with in real life, what we have to deal with in real life. And that's a good thing. When it gets, tends to get to me is when I hear the brothers referring to the women as bees. When I watch the videos and they dropping and, twerking and all of that, you understand? I feel as though that perpetuates what our young people then oftentimes go out in the street and want to do and want to be. You understand? I feel as though our entertainers have a responsibility to bring a message of hope and inspiration to our young people. You know what I mean? Not even though it's, like I said, oftentimes what we see in the street. Is that the message we want to give our younger people? Is that the message we want? I danced all through from preschool all the way up. I tend to say in elementary, we, African dance, we tap dance, and it was, there was substance to what we did, and what we were taught, and the message that was, but also to our entertainers, we were given a whole another. But there's some folks out there that's making a whole lot of money off of what the entertainers
and they got to make a living. I agree 100%. I'm an artist myself, which is why I wanted to get into that as well, because like I remember growing up. And I would hear a lot. I'm really into like the older songs. I would hear like Aretha Franklin's. I would hear the James Browns, the Public Enemies. I would even, there's Slick Ricks. There's so many. The list goes on. It really does. And they all had a message. I mean, obviously there is all of this going on, but how I believe art really is, art mirrors life. Mm-hmm. So, of course, what they see going on, they're going to talk about because it's going to relate to their real experiences. I also do believe that there is a part of responsibility because these kids want to be like them. Mm-hmm. So if you have kids that want to be like you and you're talking about how much drugs you're selling or whatever, that I believe that's a whole nother conversation that can be perpetuated, exploited. That goes off into a whole different tangents. But like pertaining to this specific conversation, it's like as an entertainer, it's a responsibility to be yourself. Mm-hmm. Like that's first and foremost. If you're not going to be yourself, who are you going to be? Okay. So with that, you're yourself. But then also, it's just keep in mind of, the role of when the kids want to be like you. Well, who are you projecting to them? Because most artists, even if they are talking about the stuff that they do, if they're, out doing drugs or if they're out selling drugs or, doing whatever, that's what they do in this aspect, but they're also, if they're an artist, they're a true artist, they're also putting in a lot of work. They're also working very hard. Why not show that aspect off, that they are hard workers, they are not afraid to work hard, rather than, glorifying something that they did in a past life to get to where they are. Mm-hmm. Even if it was to get to where they are, they're most likely not doing it anymore because they're working on their music. So it's like, that's, I would say, like entertainers, even if it's not just music, even comedians or whatever the case is, they should just have a responsibility in knowing that kids want to be like them, that they're kids out there who really take literal what they say, what they present. And
they're influenced by what they say.
And most of these kids grow up without a father because a lot of fathers are being incarcerated. So that relates all back to, where are they going to learn from? If they don't learn from both parents on how to grow up and how to live, well then they're going to go to the television, or they're going to go to the people out there already, the older people in the streets that are already, doing what they're doing. They're going to be influenced. They're easily influenced, and without the solid family structure, as you already said, is declining, then they're going to be influenced by whatever the environment is, which that an environment is slowly on the decline. So we're just trying to build it up, especially with this television show. One thing is we're trying to be able to gain control back of our communities, and so each individual, just do something, whatever it is, just do it. And so now, as you had mentioned your business before. I would like for you to just talk about what you do. I know it's the hold on, I did my research on it. It's the Sister Soldier Environmental Services LLC. Yes. So I would like for you to, I know you just mentioned a little bit about it, but would you be able to talk about what you do when it started?
Well, like I said, it was a period of time. I relocated back here from Boston in January of 2008. My mom was, terminally ill, and so I was collecting unemployment. And when she passed away a couple of months later, I decided to go through a few trainings. When you're out of work, for me, I like to keep myself busy, and so they had the FlasHDrive training program, and I went through and graduated the Parent Leadership Training Institute, City of Hartford, Youth Development Practitioners Academy, anywhere to just educate myself to the extent that I was able to. That was free of cost, by the way. And I volunteered. I volunteered in the community. I attended several community meetings from NAACP, African American Alliance, NRZ meetings, town hall meetings. Went out into the community, outreached, and before I knew it, I was holding support groups in my living room. And from that, I came to learn, realize that there were, like I said, many individuals who were returning home, unable to get work. And with one of those training programs that I went through was construction training, the North Star Center for Human Development. I, took all the required classrooms courses that was available as far as lead abatement, asbestos abatement, HAZWOP, or OSHA. And I took it a step further and went to the state and became licensed as a licensed lead inspector. And that's when I started Sister Soldier Environmental Services, LLC, as a licensed lead inspector. With that, my being the one that was licensed, I wasn't able to offer employment to anyone. However, in April of 2014, I expanded my scope of work to include cleaning, construction, commercial, residential cleaning. And one of our first contracts was on the other side of the state, you know, cleaning up one of the camps for autistic children. And we did a wonderful job. You know, I only needed 4 individuals to get the job done. Ended up with 7 crew members, had to rent a van because we all couldn't fit in the car. And you know, a 1-day job turned into a 2-day job. They did such a great job. They doubled the pay.
Wow.
The rental agency only charged me for a day rental for the van. The next contract was with Chrysalis. The same people who put me up when I was homeless ended up becoming one of my first major contracts, although they weren't the one that gave it to me. The construction company gave it to me, Nyack Construction. However, just how everything just came full circle. You know, in my first year, I was able to give employment to 24 individuals from our community right off the street, 17 who were returning home, most of which, you know, had never done cleaning. However, I trained them on the job while they're getting paid. I'm talking from $14.72 to $15 to $20 an hour on down to maybe $10 an hour, depending upon what the job, you know, pays. But the beauty in that is, I didn't see it coming, you know, like I didn't see it. It wasn't something that I could have planned. You know, I started out, like I said, volunteering, just wanting to make a difference, to now to being unemployed, to now being an employer, being homeless, to now being a homeowner. I couldn't have planned it this way. You understand what I mean? But just wanting to make a difference, knowing what it's like to have suffered and, you know, going through some things, you know. And most of us who have, you know, have a heart for wanting to like give back and let someone else know that, you know, if God did it for me, He could do it for you too. It's not about religion. I'm a spiritual being. I believe that there's a God who loves all of us equally, and we're equally as important. There's no big eyes or little U's, or you're more important than. We have to see we have to see ourselves as just as equal and as valued as the next person, no matter where they may be in life.
I agree.
You know?
I really agree with that, especially, you know, when you said how, you know, some people who have come from one area, who have experienced that, they would have more of a feeling of empathy towards people who are in that same situation, and they have more of a urge to help out. That's exactly how I feel. I mean, where I grew up wasn't anything nice either, but by coming out of that, I feel that now I can just show someone else who is in that same situation. Even if I could just reach one person out of 1,000. That one person, if it like, all I care is if I could influence that one person, you know, and have them go on and do great things in the world, and that's good, you know. It's in my eyes, and because I was from the same situation, so I understand exactly how that, you know, how it works out. And that's really inspiring story, you know, to go from, you know, from not knowing, you know, what's the next thing, to being able to provide so many opportunities for so many people, especially people coming back from incarceration. Like I said, I'm an artist. I actually mentioned, you know, about that in one of my songs, where, you know, people, like, you know, you mess up one time and you're never forgiven.
Yeah, it's a life sentence. It's a life sentence. You serve your time, you know, you pay your debt to society. Now you come home, you're unable to get work because of what you've done in the past. You're unable to receive, oftentimes, even, you know, food stamps till you're able to get on your feet. You're unable to, you know, return home and live in certain housing, you know, because of, you know, what you did, you know, or the fact that you have a felony. You know, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's not, there's still hope. You understand? Like, you know, you may have to try, you know, a little harder than the next person because of what you've been through, but just don't give up. You know, keep trying, keep striving, you know. And I don't know, I mentioned being able to offer employment to these individuals. You know, my first year was a blessing. This year has been great also, but we could always, you know, do a little better. You know, with, as you know, with construction, you know, you go out, you bid jobs, you look for contracts and so on and so forth. So we're not at the point where we're able to offer full-time employment as we would like to individuals like we would. But we're growing and we're getting there. And it's good. It's good. And you know, and like I said, it can get better, but it's gonna take us. You know, we can't sit back and wait on Superman to come save us.
Really can't.
It takes us to save ourselves. It starts with us, put it that way.
So is there any way people could get in contact with you before we wrap this up?
Absolutely. We have an office at 248 Farmington Avenue. Second floor, there's like a little business strip there with the laundromat and, you know, Renaissance on the first floor. We have an office on the second floor. We actually have 2 adjoining offices. So we run Sister Soldier LLC, Environmental Services LLC, out of the business office. And then the adjoining office is a community, you know, office. I call it a community office because although it's for our Breaking the Cycle support group that meets there, we also make it available to anyone who's in the community. If you have a great idea and you want to give back, the space is there for you. We've opened it up to others in the community who have a heart for giving back. We don't ask them for anything. God makes a way, you know, and right. So it's been good. So we're there. 860-726-6504. You may have seen our Sister Soldier LLC van going through the streets. It's red, white, and blue. We got me and my, you know, well, not me, but a female soldier saluting. And And
one thing, thank you for your service to our country as well. That I just found that out about you as well. So that's really great. And I thank you so much for being on the television show.
Thank you.
I'm very excited. As soon as I did my homework, I was like, I gotta have you on my show. And we'll be right back to
I am the architect. I feel it in the water.
Hello, everybody.
I feel it in the earth.
This is your host, James. I'm excited. I got some big news for you right now.
I smell
Raw
it
Fest
in the
4
air.
just made a power merger with Harper Public Access and my show Word on the Street. So let's show you around.
For none now live. I'll remember it.
05, 95, 96.
What we doing live? Echoes in eternity.
I am the architect. record as frequently as possible.
What are the kind of questions when you started?
Play this record as frequently as possible.
So that was just a quick preview of what to expect in the Raw Fest event that's going to be coming up, like I said, November 21st. Actually, one of the great announcements that we have to make is the winners of Raw Fest 3 are going to be premiered on Raw Fest 4, which is on this television show. So that's very exciting. Definitely stay tuned for that. Really big announcements. So I do have one special guest that's going to be here. He's going to be here dancing, and his name is FlasHDrive. That's his alias, as you would know. And he's very talented. I saw his videos as he was dancing. I was like, gotta have him on the show. He's a very talented teenager. He's great talent on the rise. Without further ado, I would like to have him on the show. All right. How you doing? Man, I'm doing amazing. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
All right. So, first, I would like for you to just talk about yourself more. I know you're from New Britain. How old are you first?
I'm actually 20 years old.
20? All right. So, when did you start dancing?
I've been dancing since I could even remember. I always remember watching like breaking, You Got Served, and I would always be in my room trying to like mimic the movements. And then one day I went to a school where one of the students was dancing, and I never saw somebody do that in like real life in front of me. So I was amazed. I was like, I have to learn how to do that. And so ever since then, I was just always practicing every single day.
That's really good. So, like, around how old were you when you first did that?
When I met the kid, I want to say I was like 11 or 12 years old.
That's really good. It's really talented. You're really talented. So,
thank you.
You're from New Britain, correct? You went to like New Britain High School and everything?
Yes, I did.
Man, so I know that's a pretty big school. I know a lot of people that went there. So with that, like, what has dance done for you?
I feel like dance has always been that, like, it's just always been there for me when nothing else has been. It's always been that outlet. If I feel some kind of way, instead of handling my emotions in a negative way, I could put it into my dance, and then I would always feel like I upgrade from it. Like, it was like, all right, I let that out, and now I feel better. And so I feel like it's always kept me out of trouble. It's always given me like something to stay motivated towards and keep pushing.
Yeah, definitely. I used to dance a long time ago, once upon a time, and I remember I would just be in my room for hours, just, especially if you're upset, you have a bad day, instead of going out, being destructive, I would dance in front of my mirror, like teach myself new moves, and I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. So, where has it taken you? What are some accomplishments that you've done in your 9 years of dancing, that you would say?
I've traveled a couple times. I've been to New York, Detroit, Pennsylvania. I just came back from California recently, I want to say like 2 weeks ago, to compete in a tutting competition. And I was able to make a lot of connections out there, network, and meet a lot of new people, a lot of people who I look up to, actually. And then I also auditioned for So You Think You Can Dance last year, and I made it to the second round, and I was able to meet Jason Derulo, Paula Abdul, and Nigel. Hopefully, I didn't make it past the second round, so I'm planning on auditioning in January this upcoming year, and hopefully I can make it past that.
Yeah, wow. You just came back from California. That's big time. So, like, who are some of the people that you would say you look up to?
Strobe, C-Tut, Kid Strobe, there's Intricate. There was one dancer who I didn't get to meet, who's actually like my main inspiration. His name's Blueprint. Hopefully when I go back out there, I get to meet him. I also got to meet, I look at him as like a rival, actually. His name is Click, Jordan Click Browne. I got to meet him, lab with him, and that was an awesome experience.
Yeah, wow. So how would you describe your style, your signature style? Like, what do you like to do best, or what are you known as? Like, what style of dance has gotten you all over the country? I call my dance style animation. I also like to tut. It's a subcategory out of animation, but that's mainly what I'd say I'm known for. My style, I would say I revolve it around time. I like to think of time like I could control time, like I could stop time there and like I'm frozen, or reverse time, fast forward time, or like say I could like make like a time ball or something and go through it, and like
Like, I don't know.
But man, like you're definitely gonna have to show that off later on in the episode. I'm really looking forward to that. So with that, like you know, you did mention a lot of people that have inspired you. I mean, you're young yourself. You have a lot of time that you're going to be inspiring a lot of other people. How do you stay motivated?
I'm always trying to look for inspiration, whether that be through. I'm always on YouTube looking at dance videos, waiting for like the next person to drop a video or the next song that's going to inspire me. Sometimes. Like a lot of my friends know me for like I'm a person, I don't like to take rides from people. I'll walk wherever I go. I like to walk so I can listen to my music and just watch nature as I'm walking and look for inspiration in different things.
Yeah, that's really, really good. So now, like that's really good because I do the same thing as well. I went from dancing to now I'm a artist. I write a lot, so I agree. Like I like to be out by myself in nature. That's where you can really get the real inspiration.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in the conversation earlier, it's like your art mirrors life. So you have to have life experience. You have to actually be submerged in life in order to gain the inspiration for your art. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. Now, you said you're on YouTube. Do you have, while we have viewers out here watching, is there any YouTube videos you have or any way people could get to see your videos and stuff that you do?
Yes, I actually do. I have, if you look up District 13, that's my dance crew. We try to go to any event possible and get ourselves out there. If you look up District 13, Try Again. That's our most recent video, and it should come up easily, and yeah.
Yeah, District 13. I actually, I have a couple of people from your dance group that are going to be in my next episode too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's definitely, you guys are doing a lot of great things. Part of the episode, or part of the whole reason behind this TV show is to give artists like yourself and people in your dance crew and other people, around Connecticut, the opportunities that we feel. I know you as an artist, because I'm an artist myself, we feel like in Connecticut, there's not enough opportunities. So what we're doing is we're giving that platform to allow artists that opportunity where, I mean, if you ask me, I think it's something that's needed. It's long overdue. If nobody else is going to do it, like who else? I mean, so that's why we put this all together. But who are, if you were to, just shout out some people, if you have any people you want to talk about on your dance crew or anything that you guys are doing, upcoming events. Are you going to be in the Raw Fest?
Yes, I should be.
All right. So like, do you have any like people that that are, I would say, like close to home, like people that really inspire you, that like you would say like in your immediate circle or even like immediate friends that, I mean, we're on television. I mean, you could definitely feel free to shout out anybody you would want to.
The main person I would say that keeps pushing me right now is actually my cousin, Tyler Robert Johnson. He's also a crewmate. You actually might have heard of him. There was a lot of buzz going on about him battling a police officer. And yeah, that's been going crazy. But he keeps me pushing all the time. He's always practicing, so I'm like, all right, he's practicing, I gotta practice. All right, he's doing this, I gotta do this, or whatever. And then like it's the same thing back and forth. I know I push him to work harder, and we just keep that motivation going.
That's the best way to do it. Now, you do a lot of battle dances, correct?
Yes.
So you're in the Raw Fest 3. Did you compete in any other dance battles?
Yeah, I was actually in a dance league called Battle Fest League. They're really well known. I got to battle for them twice. It was a really cool experience. I went out to California for DDL, which is called Dexterity Dance League. It's a tutting competition. They hold one every year. So the next one, it'll be in LA, which is hopefully what I'm shooting for to go to, so I can meet more people and network. And that, as far as battling, I'd say those are the only leagues besides the Raw Fest. The Raw Fest has been the main league that I've been putting my effort into right now. So making sure I'm prepared for the next event and the event after that.
Yeah, it's all about, getting out to the next event. So now, on a side note, I just really want to know, what exactly is tutting? Like, I don't know exactly what it is. I hear about it, but, me, myself, I'm so far removed from dance that, I'm not fully sure. Like different styles now, there's different things. So like, what is that?
tutting is the way I see it. I don't want to give you like an exact like this is tutting.
Yeah.
My perception of tutting is being able to make a shape with your body and make a 90-degree angle, and you can do anything with that shape. So you can move it over here, put your head through it, move it here, and just being able to create anything and move it wherever you want.
I see. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to play a highlights clip of a lot of the great action-packed events that we have. So if you guys would be able to, just roll the clip, please.
I am the architect.
So that was a quick video. You see the highlights. You're definitely talented. That was actually a video that I saw. And I heard you were also on. Don't get me wrong. Was it CBS or?
CBS Inside Edition. It was an article mainly focused on my crewmate Tyler, for battling a cop and everything, and they did a big backdrop on him and everything, told a lot of his information, and then they were fortunate enough to mention our crew and put a quick segment of our video, the Try Again video, on the article. So they showed me in the front, and then it was cool to be able to get that like 5 seconds of.
That is right. The 5 seconds of fame right there. Right? That is really cool. Like, you know, like that's, I believe, like, you know, dance really, it blends one of the elements of hip hop. Dance is just a way of self-expression, and especially to be able to make the news. You know, dance battling a cop. I know cops are getting a lot of flack now in the media, but you know, just, you know, something that positive. Look at how dance was able to bring people together. Yeah. And dance is a language that is not spoken. You know, it's an emotional. Like you feel it. You know, I had a couple of dancers last week, and they were freestyling their dance, and it's just the feeling that they have. You know, you don't even plan it. It's just what your body does. You get used to the motions, and you're just, you know, it just flows naturally, which I like that. And that video you were talking about, Try Again, we do have that. That'll be played for you guys later on, a little bit later on. But yeah, I definitely like, you know, like how dance, and pretty much, you know, what the show is also. It's an entertainment television, but it's a lot of like hip hop. Hip hop, you know, it has different elements. It has dance to it. It has, you know, like the lyricism, the MCing, and it has art, and you know, or the graphics to it. I would say it's all art. But you know, I really like that aspect of it. I mean, you know, to bring in like artists like yourself, and you know, that to see, you know, the work that you're doing. You know, most people they wouldn't consider, you know, this to be like the normal. You know, most people would say, you know, get a job, go work for somebody else. But it takes courage. It really takes a lot of courage to be able to do what you want to do, despite the fact of people telling you that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get a job. You're supposed to go to college. But you have a dream, and you have a passion that you want to follow. And I believe, I'm a strong believer that, you know, we're put on this earth. We were not put on this earth to pay our bills and die. We were put on this earth to, you know, pretty much do what we want to do. We can, you know, live how we want to live. I believe at least, everybody has their own genius ability within themselves that if they're not afraid to attain it, if they're not afraid to unlock it, then they can have it. And as long as, you know, as long as you set your mind to something, that anything can be done. You know, it's the work. And you know, one thing that I talk about a lot is you cannot compare yourself with other people, because your dance style can be different than somebody else's. But also what you're seeing is that, you know, they say don't judge a book by the cover. You know, when you see somebody, even if you see somebody performing, or people see you performing, all they see is your performance. They see the cover, the front that you're putting on, but
Yeah.
they don't see the hours that you put in, like behind the scenes. They don't see the hours you're by yourself. They don't see you, like, you know how you're talking, you got your headphones on, walking. They don't see any of that stuff. They only see the finished product. And so, you know, when it comes to, you know, comparing yourself, I think comparison is the thief of happiness. It'll take away your joy, because people will see, like, you know, oh man, there's probably some people out there that look at you to see all your talent. They're like, oh man, I'll never be able to be that good. But at the same time, you know, I mean, you put in a lot of work to be in the position that you're at. Like, you put in a lot more work than most other people are willing to do. So, you know what though? Like, I really do, like, you know, congratulate you for that. Congratulate you for all your hard
Thank
work
you.
and everything that you're doing. I don't want to keep our audience in suspense too much longer though.
I am the architect.
Breathe in the life, fill us with water. We're taking it farther and farther. See, mama can't make it right. Don't look to your father. You need to be smarter and smarter. This won't happen twice, so don't even bother. We're taking it farther and farther. See, freedom comes with a price, but that's just a part of life. So that's just a part of life. It's coming, I can see for miles towards the light. We know the night is coming. I can see for miles towards the light. We know the twice. So don't even bother.